Just turn this on. Okay, right. So we'll kick things off. We'll leave the mics on so people can kind of listen and talk while we're working our way through things. If you want to ask a question, maybe just stick hand up. I can kind of call you out by name if that's fair enough. Does anybody want to kick it off? Does anybody have a question to start with? I'll pick on you if you don't. Luther, do you want to start with the question you asked there just before we came on? I think you asked a question on the Facebook Live video. What was that question you were?
Just the way, like, I'm counting calories this week, and so you're saying about the gym calories, the way you can't really count what you're doing in the gym. So, like, do I sort of not count that and sort of add it like a bonus? So if I do like say if I get 19,000 as a starter point, and I'm only trying to bring it in at about 15, so I'm saving 400. So then if I'm at the doing a gym session, say on a Wednesday, and I burn another 400, do I just not count them 400 or 500, whatever it is, and just add them like a bonus?
So do you remember in terms of daily calorie expenditure, do you remember you seen the last module, the kind of the bar charts? Yeah. So the active exerciser. So somebody who's obviously base metabolic rate is kind of energy used to keep you alive. Yeah. The kind of BG's analogy I used. Then you've got your NEAT, your non-exercise activity, which is just moving around, walking around, up and down stairs. So that counts as well. Your exercise activity also counts, and then your digestion also counts. So it does count. Don't get me wrong. It definitely counts towards your daily calorie expenditure. The point I was trying to make is, if that's your only focus, you're missing out on a whole load of other good stuff. You're missing out on all the pieces of the pie. And we just like to take the focus away from that a little bit, away from, okay, if I chase the calorie burn and the exercise, that solves my problems. When really it's the nutritional aspect of things that you need to be tuned into and looking to improve. Because what did I say when it came to how you could save, 600 calories? What example did I give? Do you remember that one from the live video?
No, I get that bit, but what I'm saying is, do I count that as if that's just like an extra?
It's not an extra. It's part of your daily calorie expenditure. So it's planned activity. So you definitely count it. It's not an extra. It's part of the big picture. Just don't necessarily make it your main focus. Do you understand?
Yeah, no, I get that. No, I'm aiming to come about 400 under what, because like I'm using the My Fitness app. That's what I said to you. So I'm not sure whether that's 100%, but I presume it would be there or thereabouts.
And how are you tracking things? You're saying you're tracking things in My Fitness Pal. How exactly are you doing that? Explain it to me.
I'm scanning the barcodes and all. So anything that I'm using.
So anything
that I use, I scan the barcode on it.
Okay, and how long have you been doing that for?
Just since Monday. And
have you had any noticeable differences?
What do you mean? Well, this top I have on me, I couldn't even put it on last week because it was bet onto me. Like, it was like paint. But now you can see it's getting a little bit now.
It's starting.
It's only like day 4 into it, but I can feel it. That's how I usually know that I'm losing something, because I can feel the t-shirts on me. And then I've been after being
so
every day, but today I've done something exercise-wise.
Yeah. So look, what we'd say to avoid sort of getting caught up in the minutiae of it, like, what you'd want to do is the approach you're taking there. It seems like it's something that you can stick to, which is the main thing. Yeah. So you want to try and stick to that for a period of time. So week 1, 1 week in, we want to measure how you're getting on. So did you record any measurements? Did you track anything before you started on your calorie tracking, your calories, for example? Did you do anything?
What do you mean?
Like your weight or the measurements?
Oh,
did you do anything? Did you check any
I done my chest, my stomach, and then I was on the scales in the house. So
great. So what we do then
on Monday.
Yeah. So 1 week in, and then 2 weeks in is going to give you an accurate picture of whether what you're doing on a day-to-day basis is working. And that's, to be honest with you, that's the most accurate way to measure whether you're in a calorie deficit or not. To kind of be consistent what you're doing with tracking your day-to-day calories like you are. Continue to be active in general. I think you are pretty active in work, aren't you? You're on your feet a lot, moving around.
That's my next question for you. See the way I would average about 15,000 steps a day.
Yeah.
But see the way I do, I would do that repetitive every day. But obviously me 2 days off.
Yeah.
Would your body get used to that?
It's not necessarily that you get used to it. It's just that you might be compensating in other areas. Like what usually happens in that situation is if you get very tired and very stressed, you tend to overconsume the calories a bit more, or might kind of lean on that as a bit of a crutch because you think, oh, I'm doing loads of steps, I'm very active, so I can eat a little bit more. Do you understand that kind of idea? Could you kind of recognize that a little bit in terms of when you're working hard and you're tired and stressed, you tend to reach a bit more for the snacks and things like that?
Well, that's what usually happens. Like I would see the way you said it in the video at the start, where you would go and say, I would have a problem with, I can drop weight. I know I can drop weight. It's no problem doing that. But I would drop it in the first week or two, and then I'd get down to whatever I want. And then it's slowly after the weeks, then it goes from like 1 bar of chocolate snack to 2 bars of chocolate to 3 bars of chocolate. And then you're back to square one where the weight is, you're probably gone over than where I started from.
So again, in one of the modules that you watched, the earlier ones, I would have spoken about the fact that weight coming off very quickly is probably not body fat. You know, it's probably water weight. It's probably, you've less food in your digestive system. So in those first few days, you'll find that the scale weight comes down. But really, fat loss is something that takes a bit more time because, 3,500 calories is about a pound of body fat. Yeah. You'd have to be in a 3,500 calorie deficit over a week to lose a pound of body fat. Do you understand me? So like the first 4 days, it's great to get those numbers on the board. If you like, it's motivational. Yeah, it gets you moving. But I would say it's more about just making sure what you're doing you can adhere to, you can stick to. So for 2 weeks, that's what we really want to achieve. It's the adherence first. It's making sure that what you're doing you can stick to. Like you seem okay with tracking calories and using MyFitnessPal. You seem okay getting your steps and generally being quite active and busy. So I think the area that you've struggled on and you've identified yourself is maybe the snacking and kind of the structure around your eating. So like what structure will work for you there? What's the thing that you'd stick to most when it comes to the food aspect of things and what you're eating? Like, are you depriving yourself of stuff? Do you take everything good out of your diet when you try and lose weight? Like, are you leaving some good stuff in there that you enjoy?
Yeah, we haven't, like, even the other day, like, I'm sort of trying to stick to the 3 meals a day.
Yeah.
There or thereabouts. And the other day, Abby made another cake. So what I done is I had my breakfast late, I had my dinner, and then I had Abby's cake after it.
Right. Okay. So you saved some of your calories for later on, basically. Yeah.
So I'm sort of watching. I'm not going on. I think I went over one of the days by about. Yeah. I think it was 100 calories or something. But then it deducted it because when I logged on with me watch, it adds on calories takes off calories from what you're at the training.
Yeah.
So it came under, but I wasn't counting them because I wasn't sure whether they were accurate or not.
Yeah. Yeah. So the calories, like the measure on the watches, yeah.
Yeah.
So those trackers can be anywhere between 10 and 30% off. Like when it comes to steps
that's why I wasn't
activity.
Really,
so yeah.
I wasn't really counting.
Yeah. But don't rule it out. I'll bring it back to keeping it simple. How will you know after 1 week and 2 weeks that what you're doing is working?
Yeah, no, well, I know already it's something is working because the t-shirts are already starting to go. Like this is back in.
They are, but remember what I said. Those first few days, it's probably more of the kind of the water and stuff. So like a week in, could you check those measurements again? 2 weeks in, can you check the measurements again? And if the scale weight and the measurements come down slightly and the clothes are fitting a bit differently after 2 weeks, well then what you're doing is right. You're in a deficit. You're in a routine that's working for you, and that's the gold standard way to check that what you're doing is working. It's kind of that 2 week window to track things, and I think it's great the way you are trying to track the calories and stuff because some people aren't used to it, haven't done it yet, and so use it to your advantage, and just like look at the results that you get and use those results as your compass. Don't get this.
Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, don't get disheartened if things slow down. Like, remember what we always say. It's either you'll gain something from what you're doing or you learn and you adjust. That's it. It's like an experiment. All right. So treat everything like an experiment and enjoy that process, because you're solving problems and you're going in the right direction. And it's better to be experimenting and maybe not going exactly to plan or getting the exact results that you want than doing nothing, and not learning and chasing the kind of crash diet as a solution when you get a bit stressed out about where you are. Do you understand me?
Yeah. No, well, I planned it. Yeah. That's what I said. Once I got on the app and then I started realising, well, if I'm eating that and eating that, then I'll sort of know myself, well, that's going to cost me about 400 calories. Now, I won't be obviously probably 100% right, but I'll get there or thereabouts.
Yeah, cool.
And then I won't, after probably a month or two, then I probably won't need the app. I know myself then what I'm eating will be right and what's wrong, basically.
Which is exactly what we want. We don't want you to be counting stuff religiously. We want you to get into a routine, something that works, something that you adhere to do, that you understand, and you kind of ebb and flow across the week, and you just get into a comfortable situation, and you just keep an eye on your measurements. You don't go overboard on that stuff always. I want to try and
go on.
No, finish off there, Luther. Sorry, I
was going to say I'm trying to do it over the week. So like if it, as it as in your picture on the thing you're doing, if it says like say 20,000 calories a week, I'm not going over that, but I might go over one day and then bring it under the next. Because then like I like to have a drink on a Saturday night. So like if I have a drink on a Saturday night, at least then I still won't go over the calories. Would that be all right?
Yeah, it's like credits. You've got credits to spend every week, and you can spend them earlier in the week or later in the week, and it's just managing them, and making that suit your lifestyle. Like you should, if you want to have a beer, have a beer. Do you know what I mean? But understand that there is going to be a trade-off. You can't have the beers Monday to Sunday, but you can have the beer on the Saturday and save a bit Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And so once you're familiar with that, then you can get into a nice little groove. Has anybody, just out of interest, anybody kind of listening in? I think Jay, you've been kind of tuned into some of the nutrition videos. How have you found those, or if you have any questions around that kind of content?
The big thing for me was, like, obviously I've lost a bit and I started to plateau, and I was struggling with the plateau because I was still thinking I was managing my calories, but I wasn't seeing the weight loss as much as was falling off me that was for the last 6 months. So after listening to the videos and that, I re-looked at my calorie intake and I dropped it down a little bit more, and I have a new structure, and I'm making sure I'm doing a minimum, because I'm in my job, I'm in the car the majority of the time. So I'm making sure now I'm doing my 10,000 steps. Once after dinner in the evening time, if I'm nowhere near 10,000, I go out and do a walk, and then obviously I'm doing the gym exercises as much as I can as well. I can see in the last 2 weeks now I started to drop down again.
Great.
Started getting a weekly basis as well, So the focus of the video has helped me.
So in the last video that I think in the last one I did, it was all about the active exercise or the inactive exercise. You're kind of moving from that inactive exercise to the active exerciser column, aren't you? So it's getting your NEAT up, and that's the thing. If you think about your NEAT, you can turn it up and down. It's like a thermostat. So that's something you have a lot of control over, and having a target of 10,000 steps a day will increase your daily calorie expenditure, and will fuel the fire when it comes to your calorie burn. So it's really good that you're aware of that. And then it's also, like, I get that you might have got a bit frustrated, but it's good that you're now kind of looking at things in a bit, like analyzing things in more detail, because now you're in control. Do you know what I mean? Like what our preference is to make sure that you're you've got that kind of autonomy to make the decisions that you need to make, and like I said to Luther, like, you're in charge of having a beer at the weekend. I'm not going to talk down to you. You're a bloody adult. You're a smart guy, and you so it's more about giving you the tools to be able to make those choices yourself.
I think if I had struggled before or in the past, it would have been affected. I'll go eat the cake outside, or I'll have the bar of chocolate, so I'm not losing that, and it'll all spiral out of control. Whereas the fact, as you said, the tools I have now to reset everything and go again,
Yeah, excellent. Dave, how are you getting on? Dave Doyle.
I'm getting on okay. Similar to what Luther was saying, about 2 weeks ago I found the shirt was a little looser. So I got on the scales, and I hadn't been on the scales in a long time, and the scales came in at 107, and I'd never been that heavy in my life, and it was a right kick in the teeth, because I was training hard for 2 weeks, and it knocked the stuff down. But as I said, I hadn't weighed myself in a long time, so I might have been a lot higher than 107, but just I've never seen myself that heavy before.
Yeah.
After the week of the steps challenge, I lost 3 kilo that week. But I'm kind of, I think I'll stay away from the scales and just wait till I get back to the gym and work on the measurements, because the body shape is changing because I'm changing regular, and my job isn't the most active going, so I will have to work on that neat, as you said. Feeling a lot better in general. I just want to know, what foods would you recommend that could fill me without having much of too many calories?
So, like, if you look, if I don't know if you've seen some of the videos, the calorie content per gram for your macros, like your macronutrients, the protein, carb, and fat. Protein is 4 calories. So that's the lowest. You know, protein and lean protein food. So like your chicken breasts or very lean red meat, you know, or eggs. They would be sort of the egg whites would be very low in calories. So like and then when it comes to kind of very protein rich foods, what it looks like now is that they do kind of give a little bit of a kick to the metabolism in terms of calorie burn, and then also help you to feel fuller for a bit longer, you know. So it's not a magical solution. I wouldn't sort of say, right, start eating loads of protein foods. Like, what you should be striving for is a nice balanced meal, more kind of vegetables and things like that. That'll really fill you up, you know, without spending lots of your credits on the kind of the oily fats and the drizzles of oil over the top, you know, because that's really where the extra calories probably come in. And we've had a chat before about the toast and the butter.
But a couple of years back, when I lost a lot of weight, I cut back a lot on the carbs, and I was still eating plenty of butter and eggs and all that, and the weight went down. Would you recommend a fat diet even for the short amount of time just to get the weight down?
Yeah, so there is something when it comes to motivation. There's definitely something in getting results. Like from a motivational point of view, there's definitely something in getting results early and quick. Now, if that starts to become a yo-yo situation, then it's not a good thing. If it's part of a long-term strategy, if you kind of say to me, look, I'd like to lose 20 kilos over the course of this year, and you said, but I'd really like to kickstart my motivation, I would kind of say, okay, let's find a method that will get you to come down to a certain level to start with, and then from then on, we now need to focus in on the principles of fat loss. So making sure you're in an energy deficit, you're adhering to a diet that you can actually stick to, because the reality is, Dave, we can't stick to the extreme versions of diets for too long. You know, we tend to have to let go after a few weeks, and when we do, what happens? You know, we'll go back to,
it's not sustainable.
Yeah, and then in the last module, I did as well the yo-yo dieting. Is kind of somebody who doesn't really exercise enough, doesn't move around enough, and they always chase the kind of fast results, and it's up and down, up and down. The Weight Watchers scenario is kind of in there somewhere, because people, you know, they'll lose a lot of weight, they gain weight, they lose weight, they gain weight, and what they're actually doing over time now, and again, it's kind of what the research is saying, is that the internal thermostat, the BMR, your base metabolic rate, the energy that you need to stay alive, actually is turned down. Your body finds a way to down-regulate that. So if you put your body under a lot of stress and teach it that it doesn't need a lot of energy, what does it do? How does it compensate? What does it do as a reaction to that situation? So you don't really want to be chasing that a lot. You want to be sort of in early on, get some results, and then the best approach is, okay, calorie deficit to kind of get some movement in the weight, get the weight coming down, and then take a break from that. You know, stabilize it and stay where you are, and get into those habits, and then go again, and then stabilize and go again. So that's really the best approach. But it is, if you want long lasting results, then your strategy needs to be a bit longer term, and you know, as far as a plan is concerned. So 3 months, 6 months. Yeah. But that's I would ask you next. That's what my next question would be. What do you want to achieve, and you know, realistically, over what time do you want to achieve that goal? And then as part of that, that's where you could kind of look at something.
Everybody wants it tomorrow, but I have to be realistic. I know if I want it, I can lose weight. I have to put my mind to it. But as you said, once that's achieved, I'll do it over. I'll go full on into that. And once that's achieved, I'll give up on it. I'll come back up. I want sustainability. I want I don't want to be over slim. I enjoy a few pints. I enjoy cooking. I wouldn't mind working on a bit of body toning, so I carry my bulk a little better. So so just to kind of shape up a little bit more, maybe. Yeah, and like the style of training we're doing, and obviously this is kind of slightly a different angle, but
the style of training we're doing in terms of time under tension and really going through ranges of motion and stuff, that's all going to serve you really well in that respect. I would say if you want to see shape, then we need to look at trimming down a little bit, you know. And actually, if all you do is trim down, you will look bigger. You know, you will see more muscle, and it will give off the appearance of being bigger without actually trying to really sort of do much more, you know. So that's the way it would work. So I'd encourage you to get into a situation where we bring the kind of, we're working to bring body fat down slowly and combine that with the good training, and that's where you'll get the best results, you know. And you really will only shape the muscles, just to finish on that, the kind of training aspect, by doing that kind of structured progressive overload style training with really good technique, and that's where that's at, you know. And I think you're getting that, you're sort of really tuning into that.
On a positive note, this coronavirus lockdown and training wise has got me back on the pitch, which I haven't done for about a year, you know, which is good, you know?
Yeah, it's good.
More pandemics, Dave. Is that what you're asking
for? Just I guess on the nutrition course itself, like, have all of you had a look at that or start to have a look at that? I think Luther, obviously you have, Jay you have. Dave, have you had a look at that, or how are you getting on?
Bits and bobs if it comes up my feed. I haven't followed it from start to finish, which I will do.
Okay, I'd encourage you to if you can. It's very easy to find on the portal, you know, the members portal.
Yeah.
There's a link directly to the units, so you don't have to wade through anything or find anything. But honestly, it's layer by layer, builds you up slowly. It starts off the nutritional pyramid. That's your compass, you know, and we start from the bottom and we work our way up. So each module that we do is kind of a layer of that pyramid as we go, you know. And you know, it's the calories kind of section that we're in now. It builds your kind of knowledge on that up slowly, and we're now kind of at the stage where we're talking about the NEAT, non-exercise activity, and how important that is, and it gives you some numbers and gives you some concepts to understand, you know, the bigger picture, so that again you're armed, like Jay, I've said to Jay, that you're really armed with the knowledge now to kind of take it on and not become frustrated because something isn't working, but now you know, okay, well I understand why it's not working, and I just need to make that course correction and get back, you know, heading in the right direction and just keep moving forwards. And that's, so I would encourage you to, if you could. The reason I'd also encourage you, not just for yourself, but as a group, one of our big things is to try and educate people. And so if you and Luther and Jay and other people are doing that course, and then you're going out into the group, what are you doing then? You know what I mean? You're basically spreading the coronavirus. You know, if you use that kind of analogy, like in terms of the knowledge, so that's a really good thing. It's like you can now have an impact on the people around you, and if we're having chats and conversations, you guys can have an impact on others in the group. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. Any other questions on the nutritional stuff before we maybe try and wrap things up? How are you getting on, John?
Dave, is there any?
Go on, Luther.
Yeah.
Go on. Yeah.
Is there anything that you should be eating to try tone yourself up?
To tone up. So what do you mean by tone up? Just explain to me more better. What do you want literally when you say tone up?
Just to like give yourself a bit of shape, like.
So.
Or do you just
shape,
keep eating like red meat things?
So shape. If you want to shape the muscles, if you want to tone the muscles, that's going to heavily depend on the type of training that you do, always. So like we've spoken before about the fact that you can't spot reduce when it comes to fat loss. You can't sort of say, Dave, I want to lose body fat around my stomach right now, you know, because you are that block of ice. Remember I gave you that kind of idea before, so you melt, you know.
Yeah.
But when it comes to toning and building muscle, in some ways you can actually target your shoulders and your arms and your, you know, you can actually target it, but that's done with training and good progressive overload style training. So training that builds up over time, that puts your those muscles under stress, and then your body has to adapt, and your muscles will change, the shape will change, and your muscles will grow, the cells will grow, and then obviously when it comes to the diet side of things, you want to feed yourself well. You don't want to starve yourself. You want to, you know, obviously you're striving for calorie deficit when it comes to fat loss, but you need to fuel your training. You need to fuel your ability to move around. So if you do lots more training, if you looked at that last module, what I was saying there was 60%, you know, of the pie is coming from, like, that's your BMR. That's how much energy needed to kind of stay alive. you're going to move around a lot more. So you're using more energy when you walk around and you're in work and stuff. And then your exercise activity is another 300-400 calories per day. And your digestion is another 200-300 calories. So you need to eat to fuel that. Do you understand? So you have to fuel the fire and then train hard as well. You know, you have to put the two things together. When it comes to the type of foods that you want to eat, definitely more kind of protein-rich foods for building muscle and helping your muscles to grow and maintain the muscle that you have. And then but continue to eat carbs, continue to eat fat. Don't restrict any food group, because they're all very important parts of the puzzle when it comes to toning up and changing your body shape. But training, when it comes to body shape, training is key, you know, and that's why we're sort of a lot what we say now about the kind of the sweat style sessions. They're great fun, you know, they're very good for you. But if your goal is to change your body shape, become leaner, more athletic, then it's going to come down to the type of training that you do, combined with a good diet, and that's really the magic kind of combination. Does that answer it?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, you sure? Anybody else got any questions before we finish up? We're just heading up to half. We okay?
No,
is that okay for now, lads? Yeah.
Yeah,
perfect.
Excellent stuff. Right, listen, I'm gonna let you go. If there's any follow-up questions, you know, you can message us and we can go through some stuff. Get into the modules if you're already on them. Keep working through the nutrition modules and keep training hard. I think all three is are training fucking hard.
Yes, I'm training more now than I ever was.
Yeah, but that's, I mean, is that not a good thing?
Yeah.
I know, yeah, it's great. That's what I'm saying. It is great.
Yeah. I honestly, I think the three of you are doing fantastic. I really do, and it's great seeing you in there in the sessions, and we'd obviously feed off of that when it comes to coaching and stuff like that. So just keep up the good work. Yeah, keep moving forward, and if there's any issues at all at any stage, you know to shout and ask. Okay.
No, but
Thanks.
thanks.
See you guys.
Well done.
See you later, lads.
Bye,
See you later.
See you later.
Take it easy. See you guys. Bye.